until you will start using your gems and forged keys in order for you to unlock the newest archer artifact, which is Roaring Rager. Watch this video because we are going to compare this artifact to every single archer artifact, which is really important in my opinion, right? Because you have to understand where to put your forged keys, Forge of Light draws, your gems, and all the necessary currencies which we have in the game, right? First of all, let's understand why this artifact is good and what it does that it is so unique for Call of Dragons artifacts, especially for archers, right? Marksman PvP Assault, Marksman Attack, Legion Attack, basically offensive artifact, and Flaming Fangs, right? Deals diffuse damage, physical damage to up to 3 enemy legions in a designated circle, right? So basically like a Phoenix Eye drop, but only for 3 targets. Not only 3 targets is pretty nice, but what's the most important for this artifact is actually additional effect. Each volley fired reduces this artifact's skill cooldown by 3 seconds and increases the wielder's attack by 5% for 10 seconds, maximum 3 stacks, and maximum we can increase to 10% and 4.8k. Of course, damage factor looks absolutely amazing. Physical attack bonus is nice, 10% is pretty good, and yeah, most important here is of course artifact skill cooldown, right? If you have not seen the PvP open play videos which I did with this artifact, basically you can use this artifact skill twice and everybody else once, right? This is how this artifact works, and that's the most unique feature, right? But it has one important aspect, which is volley, right? Volley means launch an attack at a multiple targets, dealing extra normal attack damage or physical damage. Heroes with this mechanic is a ruby, right? That's the thing which is not that great, right? Because generally exclusive artifacts can't be the number one choice for all the archers if we are comparing to the other artifacts. But still, I believe this artifact will give you a huge amount of damage, a lot of merits, but especially you have to have a ruby in order for use this artifact in a most proper way. Of course, as I said, we are going to compare the Roaring Rager to every single archer artifact, and let's start with Shadowblades, right, which is a basic artifact for archers. It also deals diffuse damage, but not 3 to 5 enemy legions in a rectangle, and damage factor is 3.6k. We can't really say that Shadowblades is better than Roaring Rager because it's a most basic artifact without additional effect. Even if you don't have volley, I believe even like different archer hero pair, you are still going to use Roaring Rager. The simple fact is that you're gonna have way more damage, like purely skill damage factor, than Shadowblades, right? I understand you are dealing damage to 3 targets here, you are dealing damage to 5, but still, I believe, if we are comparing Shadowblades to Roaring Rager, of course, even with the other archer heroes, except Ruby, Roaring Rager will be the primary choice compared to Shadowblades, right? The next one, which is Heart of Kamasi, which is really interesting artifact, and it's basically a support artifact which gonna give you physical attack bonus 30% and normal attack damage bonus 30%. The numbers are really huge. Also, we have to mention that you are granting these skills, these buffs to 2 nearby friendly legions, which make this artifact even more important, right? Of course, you can always use Heart of Kamasi even with Ruby, even with anything else, but it won't gonna deal too much damage. You won't gonna get a lot of merits by using this artifact, but what you can happen is that you are going to be really tanky because of the defensive stats this artifact has. Of course, unit defense, legion defense, marksman unit defense, but as an offensive artifact for open field PvP, you might not get what you want from the artifact, right? Of course, you can easily use Heart of Kamasi with basically anything, but I believe Heart of Kamasi is great for a support marches, which main idea is to give buffs to everybody around you, which is your nearby legions, and not only buffs, but also heals, shields, and generally some supportive stuff. That's why I can't really say that Heart of Kamasi is better than Roaring Rager. Let's move to the next one, right? And the next one is Rattle Spear, which is one of the great artifacts for especially Kinara and generally defense break archer gameplay. So Rattle Spear and the Roaring Rager, both of them are offensive artifacts, offensive stats. Here you are dealing damage to one target, but you are giving some control abilities, which is basically march speed reduction, and plus the most important thing for Rattle Spear is of course defense break, right? Why Rattle Spear can't be better than Roaring Rager? There is one simple answer. Whenever you are using Rattle Spear, you are standing still. You generally can't move until, like, if you're gonna move, the skill will be cancelled, right? So that's only thing which is enough for me to say that Rattle Spear can't be better than Roaring Rager, right? During the open field PvP, especially as an archer player, you are not having the highest range out of anybody, out of mages, of course. Yeah, it's a big disadvantage that you kinda have to stand still in order to utilize Rattle Spear's full potential. That's why can't really say that Rattle Spear is better than Roaring Rager. The next one, which we have Viola's Bow, deals diffuse damage up to 5 enemy legions in a designated rectangle, and also it has a silence, right? Which means you can't really cast a skill. Of course, this artifact is really useful in open field PvP, but for your merit getter hero pair where you want to get a lot of merits, I believe you won't gonna use Viola's Bow, right? You're gonna use Viola's Bow on a control hero pairs, on debuffers, or maybe you have a support hero pair in your 5 marches, at least one, and Viola's Bow will be really useful, right? So I put Viola's Bow and Heart of Kamasi in the same category, but in my opinion, Heart of Kamasi is just twice as better than Viola's Bow. So if we said that Heart of Kamasi is not better than Roaring Rager, we can't really say that Viola's Bow is better than Roaring Rager. The next one, which we are going to speak, is Goldcrest, right? One of the great artifacts during the Syndron Freygar era. Control artifact, marksman unit attack, legion attack, offensive artifact, which is already a good start, right? Let's check the skill. Diffuse damage to the selected legion, which means deals damage to one target. Your legion gains haste, and what's the most important, right? When the Freygar is in your legion, casting artifact skills deals additional damage. The target legion is also immobilized, right? Cannot move for 3 seconds. Basically, this cannot move for 3 seconds is the most important additional effect for the Goldcrest, and it makes this artifact one of the best till this day to the game, right? No matter what, you are going to immobilize, you are going to deal damage, but we have one but, right? Additional effect, Freygar, right? Freygar needs to be there. If Freygar is not there, it's gone, right? And plus, this artifact will deal single target damage. So in terms of merits, in terms of effectiveness, in terms of pure numbers, we can't really compare Goldcrest to Roaring Rager, right? It will be impossible to compare, right? Like, on level 1, we are getting 2.4k skill damage factor, on max level 4.8. Basically, almost 5k damage, plus 10% physical attack bonus. Yeah, I'm not really speaking about Volley, right? Because Volley is for Ruby, but without Volley, you can see what you are getting. It's pretty huge, right? That's the reason we can't really say that Goldcrest is the better than Roaring Rager. Let's move to the next one, right? Iron Tusk. Iron Tusk is a great artifact, especially if you want to deal damage to multiple targets, 5 enemy legions within the cone for 3 seconds. Yes, this artifact deals lot of damage. Additional effect, when a penetrating bolt deals damage, the welder deals 20% more hero skill damage. Basically, penetrating bolt, only Falgrim can deal damage by the penetrating bolt, right? And also there is one more mechanic which I don't like regarding Iron Tusk. Whenever you are using the skill Rapid Salvo, you have to stand still in order to finish casting. If you are going to move, you're gonna cancel the Rapid Salvo. So, kinda same way of gameplay as we had with the Rattle Spear, same kind of mistakes, same kind of disadvantage, right? Of course, Iron Tusk will do more damage than Rattle Spear, but in comparisons to the Roaring Rager, unfortunately, I still would not take Iron Tusk if we are comparing to Roaring Rager, right? There is one more artifact which is left for us to discuss for marksman gameplay, for open field PvP. That's of course Gilded Crossbow, right? Gilded Crossbow. Let's see what Gilded Crossbow actually does, right? Gilded Crossbow deals damage to 3 legions within a range, which is a huge range if you're gonna check, and also increases march speed up to 50%. Skill damage factor is 1.3k, enemy HP bypass 1.5k, right? 1.5%, not k. So basically, what's the most important aspect for this artifact and glittering bolt? 1.5% enemy HP bypass is huge. Increases your legion's enemy HP bypass up to 11%. It will be more whenever it will be max level. So basically, you are bypassing the HP of your enemies. Who is your number 1 enemy during open field PvP? That's of course infantry, right? Because infantry is going to ruin your gameplay as an archer player. Infantry has the highest amount of HP bonus, right? If you want to deal a lot of damage to infantry players, get something which has a HP bypass inside the play kit, and you are going to deal full damage and huge amount of damage, right? So let's compare to the Roaring Rager. In my honest opinion, all around archer gameplay, Gilded Crossbow is still the best one, right? We don't have any specific exclusive things which is connected to the Magrat or Zaida, for example, which means basically you can use this artifact on every single archer hero pair and hero, and it will have a same effect, same strengths, and same idea, right? Enemy HP bypass, march speed will help you to escape the blinking artifacts, it will help you to move away from the danger, it will help you to come closer to your opponent, so you will deal damage, right? So in general, in overall gameplay, all around, I believe still Gilded Crossbow is number 1. But it doesn't really mean that that the new artifact, which is Roaring Rager, is bad, right? I believe still Gilded Crossbow has a number 1 spot, but Roaring Rager is a second one, right? Of course, we have one of the most unique skill sets in this game, which is reducing the cooldown of the artifact, but if we are speaking about all around gameplay for archer players, for archer heroes, every single hero, I still believe Gilded Crossbow will be and should be used more than Roaring Rager. So let's have a small conclusion. I believe number 1 artifact for archers is still Gilded Crossbow, because we can use Gilded Crossbow with everything. And in terms of damage, in terms of like exclusive artifacts, I believe Roaring Rager is a second place, if we are just giving like top 1 and top 2, right? So still, if you are going to be unlocking Ruby and Kylan, or at least Ruby, get this artifact. It will deal huge amount of damage. It will have the most unique feature of this game, which is artifact skill cooldown reduction, and plus 4.8k damage from artifact for archers. You are going to enjoy the merits which you are going to get. But unfortunately or fortunately, if we're gonna speak about the best, I still believe Gilded Crossbow with an enemy HP bypass and march speed 50% increase is just too good to not to say that this is still best one, right? Of course, as always, I'm interested about your ideas, your thoughts regarding the archer artifacts and in general regarding the Roaring Rager and comparing to the other archer artifacts. So in my opinion, number 1 is Gilded Crossbow, number 2 is Roaring Rager. I'm waiting for your opinions in the comment section, and as always, if you like the video, press like, subscribe, share. It gives me more and more motivation to make more content for this game. I wish everybody an amazing day, morning and night. We are going to see each other really soon. Bye bye and good luck.